the specifics in terms of food, in terms of core, in terms of headline inflation, you'll see that it is moderating and decelerating.
Curbing inflation again. Central Bank of Nigeria raises interest rate by 150 base margin.
The discussion at this extraordinary session will go beyond adopting your rule of procedures and other plans on guiding the businesses of the legislature.
24 extraordinary session of ECOWAS Parliament opens in Kano. Regional integration and security top agenda.
No religion said you should go and mutilate people. In fact, Islam has high respect for women.
2024. Plus, gender-based violence, religious and traditional leaders in West Africa agree to tackle menace. Good evening and welcome to the Network News. I am Olajide Bedlo. Tonight, Adeola Komiakere will be joining me from Lagos, and Professor Uche Waleke is here in our Abuja studio to talk more on the outcome of the CBN MPC meeting. Don't forget to join us live on our website, nta.ng/live, NTA News Now on X, and on our other social media handles displayed on your screen. In a bid to sustain efforts towards reducing inflation in the country, the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, has increased monetary policy rate by 150 basis points to 26.25%. Musa Abubakar reports that this was the position of the CBN Monetary Policy Committee at the end of its 295th meeting in Abuja.
This is the third time the Monetary Policy Committee members are meeting this year. On the committee's priority list is to review recent financial and economic developments and assess risk to outlook with the aim to achieve price stability through their next line of action. Members observed that while year-on-year headline inflation in April 2024 rose moderately, the month-on-month measures of headline, food and core inflation all declined.
There is light at the end of the tunnel, and that is because much as we see an increase in inflation, in the inflationary figures, when you go down to the specifics in terms of food, in terms of core, in terms of headline inflation, you see that it is moderating and decelerating. MPC urged that more be done to address the security of farming communities to guarantee improved food production in these areas.
With the marginal increase in the external reserve balance between March and April 2024, members urge banks to sustain focus on accretion to reserves. They attribute the recent volatility in the foreign exchange market to seasonal demand, a reflection, they say, of the interplay between demand and supply in a freely functional market system.
With respect to recapitalization, of course, we're looking forward and saying that we need the banking industry to be a lot stronger and more robust, particularly considering the $1 trillion economy that the federal government is anchored itself towards. We have gotten much of the feedback from the banks with respect to what their plans are.
They believe that the decision to increase from 24.75 to 26.25% is on the right track to reduce inflation, with liquidity ratio at 30%, cash reserve ratio at 45%, and asymmetric corridor at plus 100 and minus 300 basis points. In Abuja, I am Musa Abubakar, NTA News.
And joining me to talk more in the studio is Professor Uche Waleke, Director, Institute of Capital Market Studies at the Nasarawa State University. Professor, you're welcome to the Network News.
Thanks so much.
All right, another increase as expected after the inflation figures came out last week. What does this imply?
Well, it has a number of implications for the economy. I keep arguing that the major challenge we are facing today in Nigeria isn't just inflation, it is stagflation. Stagflation is a situation in which you're also faced with tepid economic growth. For some time now, we've not had any real GDP growth that is above 3% on the average. So I think that should also bother the central bank. Yes, I recognize that the primary mandate of the central bank is to maintain monetary stability, but the central bank, in doing so, should also have an eye on output, on the impact of any decision that is taken on output. Recall that between February and March, just within 1 month, the MPC took the MPR up by as much as 600 basis points. And I had expected that at this meeting, the MPC would have at least paused rate to watch the impact of what they had done just a couple of weeks ago, on the economy, and before resuming this this rate hike. Yes, inflation rate is still elevated at 33.69, and we also recall that was also despite the aggressive rate hike that was done in February and March. So what that tells you is that inflation rate is not going to come down simply by raising the MPR, and this much was even admitted by the CBN governor when he was talking, because he also said mentioned the real factors driving inflation rate in Nigeria, and if you look at them critically, a large part of that is non-monetary, and it's only the monetary factors that the central bank actually can tackle. The non-monetary aspect, namely insecurity, which he mentioned, even transport challenges, these are factors that are outside the control of the central bank. So I don't think the approach to dealing with inflation, the mindset that, yes, it is my bit to deal with inflation, let the government or fiscal side handle the output part. Okay. I don't think that is the kind of approach we should be adopting. It's one economy, the two must be talking together, the two must be working together, not only to deal with inflation, but also to deal with the output challenge, which of course is also connected to employment, is connected to poverty.
Okay, Prof, just before I let you go now, the CBN attributed the volatility in the foreign exchange market to seasonal demand. How long do you see this lasting?
Well, as far as the forex market is concerned, I will give it to the central bank. They've taken a number of measures to bring about stability and even confidence in that market. But what's important is to ensure that we put in place sustainable measures that will bring in inflows. Okay, it's not about focusing on the what a lot of people call hot money. Trying to raise rates because you want to attract foreign portfolio investment. Foreign portfolio investors come in today, okay, bring in their money today, and then rates come down, and in 3 months' time or 6 months' time, they're exiting, and when they're exiting, the pressure still returns. So I don't think that's a sustainable way to address the issue of forex. The best way to do that, as I said, is this handshake between fiscal and monetary policy, which is also why I want to say that this is the time to actually put in place that coordinating committee between the fiscal side and the monetary side. And I tell you why I also say that. If you notice the MPC communique, the GDP growth rate that is being projected by the central bank is 3.38%, whereas the fiscal side is talking about 3.76%. Meanwhile, it's the same economy, and you're having different forecasts with respect to output. So there is need for coordination in dealing with the stagflation challenge we have in the Nigerian economy today.
Many thanks, Professor Uche Waleke. I know you have loads and loads of information about that. The much we can take. He is the Director, Institute of Capital Market Studies at the Nasarawa State University. Thanks for your input on the Network News.
Thank you for inviting me.
All right, moving on. Gombe State Governor Muhammad Noah Yahaya has promised to consolidate on human capital development by investing in healthcare, quality education, job creation and skills development. The governor was speaking to State House correspondents after an audience with Vice President Kashim Shettima at the presidential villa. He also put the proposal of creation of state police, which he said will address the current insecurity issues across the country.
Through the National Assembly, it will have easy passage through the states and very soon. Because inadvertently, it is the states that are managing security now. Because you find that every state has its own arm of security that is supporting the security agencies in order to. And even though it is said that the governors are the chief security officers, the men on the command on the ground, meaning either GOC or police commissioner or any IG posted to the zone, is only responsible to his commander here in Abuja. So before action is taken, it takes time.
He notes that at the last Northeast Governors meeting held in Bauchi, the governors agreed to provide 10 megawatts of solar power.
And all the governors are amenable to working with the new Electricity Act, knowing that so far, one leg has not been able to deliver us. Whatever we had before was not able to take us out of this situation. And I think the approach now is better. So we hope to overcome it. As I'm talking to you now, it's almost 4 weeks that Gombe have no electricity power because of vandals that attack the transmission line. Ordinarily, it should not be so. We should have so many arms of the transmission company reaching to our place. But we have been shortchanged because of so many policies of the past. But now we'll take advantage of liberalization as brought by Mr. President.
Vice President Kashim Shettima has reaffirmed the resolve of the President Bola Tinubu administration to uphold religious freedom and interfaith unity. State House correspondent Abdurrahman Jibrila reports that the Vice President said this while inaugurating the board of the Nigerian Christian Pilgrims Commission at the Presidential Villa, Abuja.
The arrival of the reconstituted board members of the Nigeria Christian Pilgrims Commission at the Presidential Villa, received by Vice President Kashim Shettima, who says Nigeria is what it is because it is a nation of God, and this spirituality is of prevailing interest, maintaining that Nigeria's strength lies in its diversity of faith, promising that there will be no discrimination under the Tinubu-led government.
Nigeria is a home for all. And our covenant with the nation isn't only to guarantee the freedom of thought, conscience, and religion of each person, but to make sure that each person practices their faith with ease. We can only actualize this when we have refined stakeholders engaged to oversee this promise. The Nigerian Christian Pilgrims Commission is a product of the nation's sincerity to ensure that this sacred tradition of Christianity is sustained and given the priority it deserves. It is our pledge that our Christian brothers and sisters in Nigeria will access the optimum privileges in pursuit of their spiritual journey to answer the call of the Lord.
The Vice President urged the new NCPC board members to be a unifying figure dedicated to promoting interfaith harmony through compassion, justice, and mutual respect, assuring the administration's commitment towards ensuring interfaith harmony. And the board chairman thanked the president for the government's support in sponsoring pilgrimage journeys that encourage the spiritual upliftment of citizens.
We expect that we are going to put in our best, and I can assure you that Pilgrims Board is not going to be Pilgrims Board again, but a Pilgrims Board that is dedicated and doing what is supposed to be done. We are not going to be politicians, but people who are out so that we will bring God to the people and bring the people to God.
But I can assure Nigerians that this is the beginning of new things to happen, and by the special grace of God, we will not let God down, we will not let the president down, we will not let the church down. We are going to move the pilgrimage forward in Nigeria with new dynamism by the special grace of God.
The NCPC chairman pledged that the new board will work to improve pilgrimage services that will leave the NCPC a better place, expressing hope that the pilgrimage exercise will foster greater understanding and unity. From the State House, Abraman Jibrila, NTA News.
And from the Red Chamber, Senate is to convene a national summit that will find sustainable solutions to recurring farmer-herder clashes. The lawmakers noted with sadness that these clashes have over time cost the nation huge losses of life and property. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali reports.
The resolution by the Senate was equal to a motion from Senator Issa Jibrin in relation to attacks in parts of Kogi State in the last couple of months.
The attacks on these communities in Omanalka government area have resulted in the killing of over 500 citizens, in addition to wanton destruction of public and private properties worth hundreds of millions of naira.
An action should be taken to ban this type of migrant grazing with cattle across Nigeria.
Without help, there is no way a peasant herder will be able to do ranching.
We have people who are trained to deal with this aspect of business. What do we do differently? Because we were not always like this.
Farming activities will be very difficult for them. And this will go a long way to even affect food security in our country.
An ad hoc committee with members drawn from the 6 geopolitical zones has been set up to look into the issue.
Victims are owners of farms, and even the herders are also killed. And therefore, there is need for us to find a way to bring total peace so that communities can live in peace and return to their various domains.
Senate has also urged authorities to resolve the boundary disputes between communities in Abia and Cross River states to restore sanity, as a minute's silence was observed in honor of those killed.
Brothers rise against brothers just because of boundary disputes. I think we must summon the courage to also raise a very critical solution on the issue of boundary disputes.
Plenary featured second reading of the bill to establish Federal College of Fisheries and Aquatic Sciences in Toto, Nasarawa State, sponsored by Senator Aliu Wadada.
The establishment of the College of Fisheries and Aquatic Sciences will contribute to the development of skilled manpower in the fisheries and aquatic sector, thereby addressing the current shortage of qualified personnel.
More technologies will be developed. We now have experts in fisheries and aquaculture.
Senate has confirmed the appointments of Rimini Makama and Sunday Abraham as executive commissioners of the Nigerian Communications Commission, in line with the request of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
To the Green Chambers, the House of Representatives has passed a resolution seeking the exemption of members of the armed forces from toll gates and parking fees in airports and other transportation hubs across Nigeria. The House at Tuesday's plenary also received from President Bola Ahmed Tinubu the 2024 statutory budget proposal of the Niger Delta Development Commission for consideration and approval. National Assembly correspondent Mitairi Ikpen reports.
Cognizant of the Federal Executive Council's decision compelling VIPs to pay airport access and parking fees, lawmakers are of the view that military personnel should be exempted from implementation across transportation hubs.
Direct the Minister of Aviation to mandate the relevant authorities to exempt members of the armed forces from toll gate fees, parking payments in airports across the country.
Members of the armed forces should be given priority on boarding. I think it is a practice I know that is applicable in some developed countries like America.
The House also expressed concern over poor radar and radio communications equipment at the nation's airports.
The House is worried that the abysmal state of affairs, radio and detection radar, otherwise called radar system, which present a disaster awaiting to happen, often address and fail at critical time when the need arises.
Lawmakers received President Tinubu's request for expeditious consideration and approval of the 2024 statutory budget proposal of the Niger Delta Development Commission. The Nigeria Police Act Amendment Bill 2024 scaled second reading.
To review the service year of police personnel in order to improve the experience and expertise of the police force.
Meanwhile, incessant banditry attacks on communities in Yagba axis of Kogi West Senatorial District was condemned by the Green Chamber with a call on the security forces to flush out the criminal elements.
Urge the Chief of Defence Staff and Inspector General of Police to identify and profile each individual living in obscurity within the forest of Yagba Federal Constituency, a lot of whom are non-Nigerian for security purposes. 3. Further urge the Inspector General of Police to carry out a comprehensive mop-up of all arms, ammunition, AK-47, cutlasses, and other weapons in their possession, in the possession of the others and individuals within the constituency.
Lawmakers also passed for second reading the Code of Conduct Bureau and Tribunal Act Amendment Bill seeking to remove spouse from the list of persons required to declare their assets. From the National Assembly, Mitaire Ikben, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the 2024 second extraordinary session of the 6th Legislature of the ECOWAS Parliament gets underway in Kano, focusing on regional integration and security. ECOWAS Parliament correspondent Muhammad Rabiu Ali reports that at the opening session, Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf calls for an agenda that will translate to regional security and economic prosperity in the region.
This is the first time the second extraordinary session of the 6th Legislature of ECOWAS Parliament is sitting outside Abuja. Parliamentarians agree the task ahead of the 6th Legislature is enormous. Challenges around security, climate change, and common currency are on the table. Acting Speaker, who doubles as Deputy President of the Nigeria Senate, Barrow Jibrin, agrees that a united and stronger democracy of West Africa can only prosper in the region with the respect for human rights and rule of law.
I will, in consultation with my colleagues on the Bureau, be proposing the appointment of an ad hoc mediation committees whose mandate will be to work within all stakeholders in getting our brothers to rescind their decision and come home and work towards promoting dialogue with a view to resolving conflicts in the region.
The regional integration will no doubt create new opportunities for economic diversification.
We are hoping that the discussion at this extraordinary session will go beyond adopting your rule of procedures and other plans on guiding the businesses of the legislature.
During the session, a senator from Nigeria, Alain Dume, was sworn in as member of the 6th Parliament. A new Speaker of ECOWAS Parliament from Togo is expected to emerge at the 6th session. From Kano, Muhammad Rabiu Ali, NTA News.
You're watching the network news on the NTA. Let's take a break now. The news continues shortly. Thanks for being there. The Media and Publicity Subcommittee of the Interministerial Committee IMC and President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's 4th anniversary has released the first phase of the timetable for activities lined up to mark the event. The first anniversary schedule of events is expected to begin on Wednesday, 22nd May 2024, with a World Press Conference aimed at projecting President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration's achievements and future plans. The conference will be held at the National Press Center, Radio House, Abuja at 10 a.m. Following this is sectoral updates focusing on each ministry's specific achievements and goals. These will continue till Friday, 24th May 2024. All briefing activities will be held at the National Press Center, Radio House, Abuja. And an infrastructural development, residents of the Federal Capital Territory, especially commuters, will soon heave a sigh of relief as the Abuja Metro line is set for the commencement of commercial operation this month. This is the fallout of the last inspection of the train station by the FCT Minister, Nyesom Wike. Odnoze Yakubu has more.
It is cheering news for the residents of the Federal Capital Territory, especially commuters
we will have another opportunity of enjoying the eco-friendly transport system with the commencement of the commercial operation of the Abuja Light Rail. During the inspection tour of the facility, the FCT Minister Esan Wiki and his team had a train ride from the metro down to the airport station to ascertain the level of readiness ahead of the scheduled inauguration by President Bola Tinubu.
I said that Mr. President said he was going to deliver, and then he gave marching orders to his foot soldiers, which we as ministers are, and we have no choice to make sure that the promise made by Mr. President, his Read Hope agenda, and Nigerians have come to see is a reality.
Yes, and Wike also inspected the access routes linking all the train stations, with most of them already completed. Onoze Yakubu, NTA News.
And away from infrastructural development, religious and traditional rulers within the West African sub-region are advancing advocacy against gender-based violence within the region. Elizabeth Omorui reports that this was at a high-level gender-based violence summit by the United Nations Women and Ford Foundation, where the Ooni of Ife Oba Adeyeye Enitan Ogunwusi recommended protection of the rights of women and girls by families and governments, as well as full inclusion in policy making.
Data by the United Nations reveal that about 1 in 3 women worldwide have experienced sexual and other forms of violence and are more likely to be killed by their intimate partners. As a pervasive global menace, Africa is not letting her guard down, and this forum seeks to leverage regional mechanisms to tackle gender-based violence being experienced by women and girls.
Genital mutilation, it's a very, very dehumanizing thing, but thank God Almighty, the advocacy is getting wider.
We are ready to give our best to the country, nothing more. We are ready to always talk about peace and stability based on justice and fair play and equity.
Let us stand in solidarity with survivors, advocate for their rights.
Harmful cultural practices, conflicts and poverty, they say hamper the progress of women.
The work I do is to protect the rights and save my women and children as much as I can.
Gender-based violence is not just against our women and girls. It's against all of us. It's against our economic growth. It's against our stability.
Together, we can achieve our shared vision of a world free from violence, bias, prejudice, and discrimination.
They recommend a coordinated synergy with law enforcement agencies to arrest and prosecute offenders, and the commitment of governments at all levels to end the scourge. Elizabeth Omori, NTA News.
Beyond mere reporting, the partnership between the media and the Nigerian Air Force is a strategic alliance which strengthens national security and promotes informed public engagement, says the Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Hassan Abubakar, who engaged in a parley with senior media executives to provide facts and shatter misconceptions. Defense correspondent Naja'atu Tijani reports.
The head of state and commander-in-chief of the armed forces, Major General Muhammadu Buhari.
Like a sentinel, the media has always reported on military operations with vigilance, safeguarding the truth and telling the stories that need to be told. Today, the story is no different, as these media executives from various organizations, including the Nigerian Television Authority, fire a volley of questions, voicing the concerns of Nigerians and getting the facts about a range of issues such as air safety, recruitment, training, and more.
About 8.
Offering a rare glimpse into the cockpit of Nigeria's defense through Air Force operations, the Air Chief himself, an experienced pilot with aviation safety expertise, steers the conversation towards addressing these concerns.
Past 1 year, we have graduated about 237 officers, about 1,200 airmen, that is recruits, enlisted personnel in the past 1 year. We have had 8 platforms coming with different kinds of capabilities. But in terms of overall acquisition is far more than that. We have made a compilation of all the accidents that have happened in the Air Force from 1980 at least till last year that we can learn from to make sure that it doesn't happen again.
With security top on the nation's agenda, this inside look is more than just a briefing. It's a mission to inform, educate, and empower Nigerians who have a right to know. As the saying goes, knowledge is power, and information is the key to unlocking it. Naja'atu Tijani, NTA News.
The producers of the popular laundry detergents, Viva and other products, Aspira Nigeria Limited, have fully furnished and inaugurated a laundromat at Bayero University, Kano's old campus. Speaking while inaugurating the facility, the general manager, Mr. Jafar Said, Aspira said it's not just a mere company, but a community that believes in fostering a support system for their customers. Fatima Sanusi Karaye reports.
Viva detergent, a product of Aspira Nigeria Limited, was introduced to the Nigerian market over a decade ago alongside various ranges of detergents and bathing soaps. Today, Viva has become a household name.
Will allow us to create more job opportunities for our community.
In recognition of their customers' loyalty and trust, the company decided to give back to the community by donating a fully furnished laundromat equipped with 40 washing machines, 40 dryers, and more.
This is part of our social responsibility. It's our contribution to the community and to the students because we want them to focus on what is important.
According to the General Manager Abbas Jaffer, Aspira believes in the power of education and supporting students to shape their future. Providing essential services like this laundromat will go a long way, especially given the current global emphasis on improved personal hygiene and cleaner environment.
We work a lot close with Bayero University. So they came to us and asked us to help in a proper laundromat. And so we said, okay, we would love to do it.
The Vice Chancellor of Bayero University, Kano, Professor Sagir Adamu Abbas, praised the gesture.
We gathered here today to take over a gigantic building, laundry building, which was built by Aspira Company. This company has a relationship with Bayero University Kano for a long time.
Yeah, actually we the student body, we always see the laundry as one of the hectic and challenges parts of academic journey. So I would like to especially thank Viva for bringing this facility.
The company is driven by endless desire to serve society better, continually developing various hygienic products to meet the needs of the community. In Kano, Fatima Sanusi Garai, NTA News.
And time now to join Adiola in Lagos for the next set of stories from that zone. Good evening, Adiola. Take it up from here.
Good evening, Olajide. Repent and become good citizens or relocate from Zone 2. This is a warning to criminals from the Assistant Inspector General of Police Zone 2, AIG Olatoye Durusimi, while on a working visit to police headquarters Ikeja, where he interacted with officers and men of a Lagos State Command as well as other stakeholders.
The man leading activities to flush out criminals from Zone 2 Police Command, which covers Lagos and Ogun states. He is at the Lagos State Police Command to rub minds with officers and men under his area of responsibility. Modern-day policing with remarkable results is what he intends to achieve in Zone 2.
I want us to know that Lagos-Ibadan Expressway is very important to us, and I'm collaborating with the CP Lagos and CP Ogun, even CP Oyo, to ensure that people drive that highway without any embarrassment. The same analogy applies to Badagry Maitu Expressway.
Commissioner of Police, Lagos State Command, Adegoke Fayoade believes the AIG's visit will enhance the command and zone's joint effort of safeguarding the state.
We have intensified our effort to curb criminal activities. This includes consistent raids on suspected criminal hideouts, stringent measures against the misuse of motorcycles commonly used in committing crime, maintaining law and order to ensure that Lagos continues to set a standard of security for others to follow.
With continuous synergy between the Lagos State Police Command and Zone 2 Police Headquarters, the force is assuring citizens of safety and peace. In Lagos, Hinginu, John Adams, NTA News.
And that's it from Lagos. The news will continue after this break with Olajide Bello in Abuja. Please stay with us.
Many thanks for being there. Now to Pilgrimage Matters. As the 2024 Hajj in Makkah draws closer, more than 11,000 Nigerian pilgrims have been so far airlifted to the Holy Land. Correspondent Jamilu Ibrahim, who is now in Medina, reports that while most of the pilgrims embark on the visitation to some Islamic historical places in the Holy City, a few others have already left for Makkah.
Medina, the second holiest city in Islam after Mecca, is the first destination for most millions of Muslims around the world who visit the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia for the annual Hajj. As the 2024 Hajj draws closer, the holy city has continued to witness the influx of pilgrims from across the globe, among of whom are more than 11,000 Nigerians who have been so far airlifted to the Holy Land. Pilgrims have embarked on the spiritual visitation to the noble mosque, the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, which was built by the Prophet himself 1 year after his migration to the city from Mecca. They also visit the Prophet's grave and the graves of his two closest companions, Abu Bakr and Umar, peace be upon them, which are integrated into the mosque proper. This is Mountain of Uhud, one of the major Islamic historical sites being visited by the intending pilgrims from across the globe. It was the place where the Battle of Uhud took place, third year after the migration of the Holy Prophet Muhammad from Mecca to Medina, where 70 companions of the prophets were killed. And this is the cemetery where they were all buried. Other major Islamic historical places that attract the pilgrims are the popular Mosque of Quba and the historic cemetery of Medina, popularly known as Baqiyah, which contains the graves of the many of the Prophet's companions and his wives.
Well, thank Allah that gives us the opportunity to put our foot on the way Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam to put his foot. We pray the way he played the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam pray. We do our namaz there and make dua. And we believe that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will accept our dua.
And they explain every bit of the stages we are getting to. Every stages we pray and we do the necessary things.
Meanwhile, the normal duration of the Nigerian pilgrims' stay in Medina has been reduced from 8 to 4 days by the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria, as some of the contingent have already moved to the city of Mecca. This, according to the NACON, is done to reduce the rising costs associated with this year's Hajj operation. From the holy city of Medina in Saudi Arabia, Jamilu Ibrahim, NTA News.
And back in Nigeria, talking culture, the Minister of Arts and Culture, Hannatu Musawa, has emphasized the need to appreciate and promote Nigeria's diverse cultural heritage to drive economic development, social well-being, and national unity. She encourages Nigerians to take pride in their culture and see diversity as a strength, not a source of conflict. She announces the ministry's continued efforts to promote Nigeria's creative economy and boost its image in line with its 8-point plan to make Nigeria Africa's creative capital by 2030. Meanwhile, as the world comes together to celebrate the vibrant tapestry of cultures on International World Culture Day, we're reminded that our diversity is our greatest strength. From the vibrant attire of the Yoruba people to the rich musical heritage of the Igbo and the rich cuisines of the North, Nigeria is a melting point of diverse cultures. In this report, Gufan Shaji Wine takes us on a journey to explore the beauty of Nigerian culture and the significance of this day.
Nigeria is a country with over 250 ethnic groups, each with its unique culture and traditions. Today, we celebrate the diversity that makes us strong.
To build a people is to reorientate them appropriately in their cultural understanding and appreciation. To kill a people is to take their culture away from them, and they will need to revisit how to incorporate, and imbue culture into our policy formulating processes as a country.
Cultural diversity is the strength of Nigeria, and it's also a day we're also creating awareness on the need for cultural dialogue.
As we celebrate International World Cultural Day, we remember that culture is not just about tradition, it's about the future. It's about the next generation of Nigerians who will carry on our legacy.
People out there, they love our culture so much. So this is time for our parents, our leaders, our statesmen, and each and every one of us to come together to tell our children and the young youth coming up more about culture.
Where there's hope for us all. Food is the universal language of love, and today we feast on the flavors of our diversity, savoring the unity that makes us one. Music and dance are the rhythms of our soul, and today we let them move us to celebrate the beauty of Nigerian culture and the strength of our diversity. Let's raise our flags high and our voices loud, celebrating the one Nigeria that we are, a nation of many cultures, but one people united in our diversity. Happy International World Cultural Day, Nigeria. May our diversity forever be our strength. In Abuja, Gufan Shaji Ugwanyi, NTA News.
You're watching the news on NTA. Another break beckons. The news continues shortly. Glad to know you're still there. Up next is Global Update.
The bodies of late Iranian President, along with the 7 other victims of the helicopter crash this weekend, arrived at the Mehrabad airport in Tehran on Tuesday. Thousands participated in a funeral procession alongside lorry carrying the coffins in Tabriz, East Azerbaijan province. The bodies of the victims have been transferred to the holy Shiite city of Qom, where many of the clerics who make up Iran's theocratic elite are trained for prayers at the Fatima Summeh shrine. On Wednesday, large ceremonies are planned in Tehran's Grand Mosala Mosque. Raisi will then be taken to South Khorasan province on Thursday morning and later to Mashhad, his hometown, where he will be buried on Thursday evening after funeral rites. A hardliner, Raisi had been in office since 2021. In other news, due to blistering heat, activities in and around India's capital, New Delhi, have been disrupted, leading to the closure of many business stalls, official municipalities, and schools. Officials swiftly began to inform residents about the dangers of heat wave, which they say is imminent, handing out possible conduct that can reduce the effect of exposure to the heat.
The era of global boiling has arrived. The air is unbreathable, the heat is unbearable, and the level of fossil fuel profits and climate inaction is unacceptable.
Officials say, should it persist, schools may have to close earlier than scheduled for the summer holidays. And a Greek court has dropped the charges leveled against 9 Egyptian men allegedly accused of downing an Adriana fishing trawler carrying over 750 migrants. The boat took off from Libya. Kolo Muhammad, NTA News.
President Bola Tinubu sends his condolences to the government and people of Kano State over the fire incident that led to the death of some worshippers at the mosque in Gezawa local government area of the state. The president condemns the act which led to the tragic development and directs law enforcement agencies to ensure diligent investigation and prosecution of suspects. President Tinubu commiserates with the bereaved families of those affected and prays for quick recovery for the wounded. And that ends the network news. Many thanks for being a part of it. I am Olajide Bello.